off all these siege tanks now. Those drones really desperately trying to run for their lives. There's Wednesday Night
vVv gaming. Both players will basically get up their second base and then go from there. But vVvRockEr, I thought he was in trouble there, honestly. Those storms finished just in time, and he was trying to take a third, trying to tech up to a lot of different areas. He didn't have his upgrades complete, and I don't know, maybe that was a bad timing there by with the storm timing. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think any player really expects 11 minutes. Okay, I gotta be careful with my Terran Bio Ball because storm may be happening. That's not going through the player's head at that point. He's like, okay, I need to keep my units together. I need to make sure that that burst damage is really good. And what's this all of a sudden? How is that going to be doing? And apparently, DDE should not have done 100 push-ups at the beginning of the game. His arms may be a little bit tired, but then again, he is breaking the stereotypical mode of gamers not working out.
You're supposed to do push-ups after and sit-ups after losses, Crota, not after just before games. That's no good.
Yeah, that's no good at all. And we're going to see vVvRockEr now make his way down with this run probe. It is going to be an 11 scout, and a little bit interesting, perhaps vVvRockEr does know that he could delay that scout just a little bit because it is going to be, east-west spawns, not forced cross spawns, but he knows that that probe will be traveling in the correct direction, at least for about 30% of the way, as he will come inside the base of DDE and spot a barracks, and we'll see if a gas will be placed down.
Yeah, we'll see. Do have the scout for vVvRockEr is making his way in, and he's going to see basically normal stuff. I'm not sure why players scout this early, but a lot of Protoss players are so used to sending out that scout after the pylon or after the gateway at the latest. Just scouting for any sort of early cheese 2-racks play is not so popular in this matchup, but he also wants to see whether a gas is taken anytime soon as well, as he's going to be expanding based off that information.
All right, so no gas has been taken as of yet. An SCV is now making its way out, and DDE, it looks like he was thinking about going into the opposite base, but instead is going to check if it is close by air. vVvRockEr is doing a much more typical opening this time, getting his assimilator first and now getting up that cybernetics core. He'll have enough gas for both Warp Gate Tech and a Stalker as vVvRockEr moves away just as a command center is placed down. Critical scouting information has been lost.
Yeah, I mean, he basically knew it anyway. There was no Vespian gas or geyser up, so the fast expand was coming unless DDE was adding like proxy rack somewhere and was just going to do like a big 5 racks all in off one base, but that's not really feasible at this point in the metagame. Players are pretty good at defending it if they're able to scout it, and vVvRockEr's definitely an active scouter as he did keep that probe alive, and now he's just going to try to take out the SCV of DDE before you can see the expansion go down, but again, both players will now know it's going to be 2 base, and we go from there.
All right, so 2 base Terran versus 2 base Protoss, and you got to remember that DDE did choose the map of Shakura's Plateau, so drops may be incoming. And I also like the fact that DDE chose Shakura's Plateau in Game 6. If he does win, he knows that he doesn't want to also give a drop advantage to his opponent in Game 7, since it would be a Terran versus Terran matchup. Right. And now DDE is upgrading to an orbital command here. He did go for the double gas, but this is without placing down 2 additional barracks, which normally means cloaked banshees.
Yeah, so we do have the factory on the way, and cloaked banshees off 2 base, sort of a variation. Often saw it off 1 base. I was surprised to see it at all in our show match last week, Curtis, since nobody goes banshees anymore. But if you can catch your opponent unawares, specking to Twilight Council tech rather than getting down the robotics and having out an early observer, it can definitely catch them, and you can take down 15, 20 probes, and the game is often over from there.
Yeah, Banshees do have a very, very high DPS, as you mentioned during our show match last week. For those of you guys who missed it, I'm not sure if it's on vVv's YouTube, but there is no casting, just a little bit of bantering back and forth. vVvRockEr does have, I believe, 3 gateways, or he will have 3 gateways, but he hasn't gone for that robotics facility yet. Oh, a beautiful force field on the ramp to deny a scout there, and it is going to force a scanner sweep, as we do see a starport being built next to a factory with a tech lab. I'm 95% sure that it is going to be Cloaked Banshees here in just a moment.
And the nice thing is that scan did not see the forge here for WNS, so WNS is going to have a hidden forge here. He's going to be able to start upgrades before DDE is. And, you know, oftentimes you see double forge and you're like, okay, I need to add double engineering bay. It's going to be that sort of game. Upgrades, maybe a longer game. I need to watch out for a 1-1 timing push, things like that. But not seeing those forges can be pretty big. If WNS able to sneak out 1-1, start on 2-2 before DDE even responds, then late in this game, he's definitely going to have a big advantage. But like you said, the Cloak Banshee is on the way out. Cloak is on its way out. And like I said earlier, if you go Twilight Council with heavy upgrades like WNS is probably doing here, and you have no detection, Cloak Banshees just tear you apart.
Yeah, right now, WNS should be looking on the inside of the base of DDE, trying to figure out if there's a heavy marine count. He hasn't been able to poke up this ramp, so he isn't getting any scouting information just by taking a look at DDE's army. And that's the reason why we do see a robotics facility now coming in. Is it going to be in time? That is going to be the key question. If he does save some Chrono Boost out for that Observer, that would be huge. But this is patch 143, I believe, so the Observer still takes, I believe, is it 40 seconds as opposed to 35?
I just did the math, and Cloak will finish up almost the exact same time, depending on Chrono Boost. Cloak is about 30 more game seconds. The robotics facility finishing up in about 5 game seconds here, so a Chrono Boost could even things up a little bit, and he's got to make sure not to take too much damage on this Banshee before Cloak finishes. It's got another 15 seconds, and now WNS knows it's here. Now he's going to Chrono this Observer. Beautiful play there, just being aware, and this Observer going to come out right in time for Cloak finishing at 2-1 seconds, and this Observer coming out in about 15.
All right, Banshee now looking to make its way in. The Cloak has completed. The Stalkers are simply just taking a look. There's the Cloak. It has been activated. The Banshee now pulling away. The Stalkers are just getting nearby. Where is that Observer? Observer now making its way in. The Banshee is going to get shot. 3 more shots. Three more shots down to 30 hit points. Level 1 weapons upgrade was not completed. If it was, that may have been enough, as Stalkers now need to deal with a new Cloaked Banshee inside the main.
Yeah, he's going to have to get out of second Observer, also being Chrono boosted out. And let's check these Banshees. One has 3 kills so far, the other has 7. So they're definitely paying for themselves. You've got to get a lot of probes to make it worthwhile. All that gas and basically not teching up to heavy bio behind it is what costs you here with the Banshees. But now both Banshees have been shut down. Total is going to be 12 probe kills, I believe. And behind this, Siege Tank's coming for DDE. Siege Tech is complete at this point as well, so pretty interesting. We will be seeing a little bit of mech. All
right, an interesting also play as well. We also see a 3rd and now a 4th Banshee being added, and 2 Stalkers are going to finish off this Banshee here. DDE not paying attention, losing one of those very, very expensive units. That one Banshee did pay for itself, but we now are going into our 2nd and 3rd. A Zealot needs to run away. Poor Zealot doesn't have the legs to carry him all the way home. I think an upgraded Zealot does have the same movement speed, but the Banshee with that stutter step or air sliding should be able to finish it off.
I wonder if we're going to have sort of a modified 1-1-1. Players used to go Marine, Banshee, Tank. Just off of 2 bases. Obviously, you don't go 1-1-1. You had a little bit more in the way of production, but he's going to have a timing here where he's got Siege Tech done. He's going to have Stim finishing up in about 100 game seconds, and then a few Banshees to add some DPS and focus fire from the air down. So he could have an interesting timing here.
All right, WNS has Blink and an Observer. This could be huge. Here we go. Taking down 1 Banshee there. 2nd Banshee tries to fly away, but quickly finds itself at the wrong end of a Particle Disruptor. And a huge, huge win for WNS, but he is still behind in supply. 118 versus 96.
Yeah, just 1 Banshee left, and obviously the Banshee is going to be able to do a little bit of harassment. Right now it's positioned in the main mineral line right behind it for WNS, but WNS's got 3 Stalkers and an Observer ready to meet it as that Banshee does cloak up here. Will WNS react in time? Banshee going to get, it looks like 1 kill here. WNS's got to get on his horse a little bit. There's the Blink and the Observer coming in, and it looks like these Stalkers not quite going to be able to get that Banshee, but just 2 kills on that Banshee, and all in all, 4 Banshees. I believe he's gotten about 15 probe kills is all. So 4 Banshees for 15 probes, not really worth it.
Yeah, so far we are actually no longer getting any more probe production right now. So vVvRockEr, I guess, satisfied on 60 compared to 65. SCV still being trained up triply coming in from DDE. So DDE is gonna hit a very, very good timing where he's gonna have a better economy. Immortals are making their way out, and it appears like vVvRockEr knows that there are siege tanks, hence the Immortal tech. A Banshee now runs out of cloak, so it doesn't even need to wait for the observer nearby. vVvRockEr should just be able to blink forward, get off one shot. There it is, the final shot there, and it looks like every Banshee on the field has been destroyed. Let's take a look at the losses. 1350 versus 1000. But if you add in the 200 for the cloak, the cost of the cloak, and most likely not having any more Banshees, DDE, you could argue that DDE is just a little behind.
This is actually brilliant play from DDE, just his build order here. He started out with Banshees, and if you go Banshees and it doesn't really pay off as well as it could, you're really susceptible to timing attacks. A stronger Protoss army, a lot of gateway units, a lot of upgrades, a lot of tech. So what do? You make the best defensive unit in the game. You go immediately to siege tanks, and you take a third base. You know you're not going to be able to attack much without heavy bio upgrades. Those will take some time, but what you will be able to do is just delay and defend. And that's exactly what he's able to do. 179 to 145. He was able to get a third base faster. Now he's able to come in here with the bio upgrades. And we'll see whether vVvRockEr's timing is going to pay off here.
All right, here we go. Immortals trying to battle up. There's some Psystorm. The units are just getting flashed all over the place. Immortals absorbing a lot of siege tank fire so far. Marines now trying to fight back up. But it looks like vVvRockEr is going to actually come out ahead. SCVs are getting destroyed. The Immortals do need to focus fire the last siege tank here on the low and high ground. There is an observer nearby, and it looks as though the missile turret will finish it off. And who came out ahead in that engagement? I believe vVvRockEr did, and we may have a new round of Zealots come in, but those 4 siege tanks on the high ground really spelling a lot of problems, as it is now 25 worker kills compared to 18.
Yeah, I think that vVvRockEr definitely came out ahead there just because DDE had to sacrifice those SCVs to hold the line there. Like you said, 25 SCVs just sacrificed. Now vVvRockEr has the better economy, 69 to 58. He's on his 3 bases. It looks like he's going to be taking a 4th. Brilliant move there. He knows he doesn't want to all in once again. He just does not have the real big buildup of units. Instead, going to take a 4th. And now he's got sort of map control as well. A lot of tanks were taken down there. DDE's going to have to remake those. And we've got a little bit of a lag here from Sugar Bear. But there's still a lot of tanks on the high ground by DDE. He's got, I believe, at least 6 tanks here, as we do drop 1 person, just an admin, so not a huge deal. We can continue on here. And now vVvRockEr attacking the 3rd.
All right, yeah, this 3rd had no siege tank coverage at all. This is an absolutely huge mistake. DDE being forced to retreat and lift off here. He's going to lose a lot of mining time. There's a beautiful Psystorm, as all the Marines and the Marauders making their way too far in. And now these units are in full retreat once more. vVvRockEr taking the supply lead here as DDE now tries to go for a hidden expansion. But there is a probe nearby, and if that probe does scout it out, he can bring an army with him with the help of a pylon.
Now we've got a drop going on in the northeast corner. At the same time, vVvRockEr's army out of position, trying to take down this 3rd. It might be a base for a base here, though vVvRockEr could cancel this 4th. We do have a lift up on this orbital command, trying to be focused down by the Archons and the Stalkers. It will not go down, and it's going to be repaired immediately by the SCVs that are here. We do have a, I believe that was a cancel perhaps by vVvRockEr. I'm not sure where that was focused down in the northeast corner, but vVvRockEr's going to have to retreat here a little bit. He's got no cannons. At the same time, a drop going on in the main of vVvRockEr, so a lot of different multi-pronged harassment here. A lot of damage will be done by this drop. vVvRockEr's army out of position offensively, and then at that 4th, DDE might actually just be able to get a Nexus here if he wants to focus it down. There are 2 Colossi that are going to force a pickup, but a drop on top of those Colossi could get them as well. It looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. Will DDE be able to take down those Colossi? They are 3-3. They do so much damage, take very little damage from these bio units. Bio upgrades right now are just 2-1, so just a huge upgrade advantage for vVvRockEr. And he was able to clean up and defend those drops nicely. Still another drop going on in the northeast corner, just constant action back and forth. A lot of probes going down here. Looks like about another 15 probes have gone down since the early game Banshee harassment. So vVvRockEr basically having to defend all these spread out bases, and DDE doing a great job buying himself some time to macro up back at home with some great micro and multi-prong harassment.
All right, we'll see what's going to happen here. DDE Now trying to set up his 4th base. Like the exchanges have been absolutely beautiful between these two armies, but DDE cannot afford to actually transfer SCVs to the top left-hand side of the map. There is a pylon there, and it is going to see a Congo line of SCVs if they try to make their way over. And now here we could have a very, very large attack. The sensor tower doing its job, revealing the Colossi and the Archons. ROKER with the 30 supply advantage. 4 Colossi on the field. Stalkers now making their way in to clean up this medevac over here, and it should be just enough. Yes, going to take down the final medevac that has any more units, but another drop happening over on the main.
Yeah, it looks like ROKER's just going to push in here. He's got a lot of power units, Archons, Colossi, and 4 Immortals still left in the early game. Might be a bit of a base trade here as ROKER trying to defend back at home. He's got 1 Colossi focusing down units. DD has to get that Colossi. It will go down right now. At the same time, ROKER attacking this 3rd. He still hasn't taken down this 3rd. It looks like he will be retreating away from these high ground tanks. So many tanks up here. There looks like at least 11 tanks on the high ground. He will not get the orbital command. Once again, he's got to get that as his base is just being ripped apart by this triple drop by DD. He's focusing down all the important tech structures as well as pylons, depowering a lot of these gateways, and DD did a ton of damage. ROKER really didn't do the damage he needed to. Now he's going to come back home and try to defend here, but I think that DD did some critical damage there and is now ahead in this game.
ROKER still does have his robotic spray right now. Even though it is unpowered, it is still going to be enough. Marines now trying to make their way in, and oh, a bad move by DDE as he tried to re-engage. The Stalkers could blink forward. Are they going to be able to get off another shot? Yes, another one does go down, and the Colossi could simply perhaps walk inside the main base, but now DDE is double training up Vikings, and DDE with 12 siege tanks on the high ground with 1-0 upgrades needs to figure out what he's going to do. And really, what ROKER needs to figure out is that there's an expansion on the top left.
Now he sees it.
Does he spot it? No, he does not. Oh, yes, he does spot it. Zealots are now making their way in. Are they going to perhaps charge in? Another proxy pylon coming in by ROKER. And as I mentioned, that Congo line from DDE just tipping too much information.
Yeah, right by the pylon there is crazy timing, and this is really bad for DD. He cannot defend that position. Basically, he's been able to lock down the 3rd and defend it just because of all these high ground siege tanks, but he is mined out at his main. He is mined out at his natural. He's trying to save this 4th command center. ROKER still has his 3rd, still has his 4th as well, so he's on 2 base. He just denied the 4th base of DDE. He's going to take the next minute or two perhaps to macro up a little bit here. Then he's going to hit a nice timing where he's about 40 food ahead.
All right, so ROKER so far, 72 supply, 42 SCVs. That is going to allow for about a 40 to 50 supply advantage. We see triple robotics facilities being placed down, wow. And that is huge as another medevac does get destroyed. ROKER just carrying the weight of the team right now, and ROKER is in prime position to shut down DDE, as DDE doesn't have that many options in order to just rebuild his army. DDE may be coming in with everything, including the kitchen sink. That is a lot of siege tanks, high Templars, destructible rocks. Look like they will go down here. And there is the Zelnaga Tower. Stalkers, Colossi in a very, very bad position. Stalkers are going to make their way over. Siege tanks destroying this now. And what is going to happen as the Colossi now need to be very, very careful. Very, very bad position for ROKER.
Yeah, ROKER's in a bit of a corner here. He's going to lose all these Stalkers to the siege tanks, and then he's going to have nothing that can take on these Vikings unless they clump together for the Archons. ROKER just going for it with these Zealots and the Immortals. The Immortals surviving a lot of that tank fire, but I think ROKER just threw this one away with that bad engagement. I think he was trying to go for a bit of a flank, taking down those rocks as he saw the siege tanks pushing across, but I'm not sure there's any way he can defend against this composition at this point. He's coming in with Archon Immortal, which is definitely what you need against Marauder, tank, and Viking, but is it going to be enough and in time?
Yeah, he needs to really chrono boost out more units. There are 3 Archons, 1 Immortal. They are upgraded 3-1. But I don't care how hard those shields are when there's that many siege tanks on the field. That is just essentially a dead unit already. Another Immortal does get taken down as it's trying to be produced. No more upgrades whatsoever. SCVs being brought in this fight. And the army of ROKER about half the size of DDE.
And here comes a flank from ROKER. He's got Zealots and Immortals coming from the eastern position. He's got Immortals and Archons evaporating in the north. And DDE just crushes this. ROKER is going to have to give the GG in just a moment. He's got no production. He's got no money. He's got basically no tech after this Templar Archives goes down. The robotics as well. and ROKER was in such a commanding lead here, forcing that fourth to lift off, being on 4 bases himself. DDE lost all of his SCVs. He had to all in. He had been banking siege tanks the entire game, and then ROKER just took on those siege tanks, took too many shells. He really needed to force the siege tanks to siege up, then pull back and force them to siege up, and, you know, keep inching forward like Zerg needs to do with creep. And instead, he's just never able to do that. He's doing his best to get up a bunch of Archons, Charge Lots, and Immortals still in his fourth, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough once these siege tanks are in position.
All right, Immortals are in position, able to take down a lot of these buildings down over here. Siege tanks are up on the high ground. There you go. There's the Hardened Shields all getting activated in just a second. High Templars need to or want to get in some Psi Storms. More units now warping in from behind, so ROKER may be able to get in a bit of a flank on these units here as the Marines are going to town on the probes. More and more Marines are still being added. ROKER only down by about 30 supply. Harvester count is now getting about even, but he is still down by about 2,000 minerals, so that is not a good engagement at all. Zealots now cleaning up a lot of the Marauders and the Marines. They are now backing off once more as the bunkers are in position and are going to slowly push away all of these Immortals once more.
Those bunkers are going to prevent the Immortals and the Zealots from coming down that ramp without taking a ton of damage. DDE has got a forward siege position, and the forces for ROKER split a little bit. He's got Zealots in the south, which are about to be focused down on a great engagement here right on the ramp. So those Zealots not going to be able to do anything, trying to kite away, do as much damage as they can, but DDE, great positioning once again, does so much damage with that bio. Now that he's caught up in upgrades 3-3, and ROKER has basically got 1 base left up in the main. He's going to make DDE come up and kill him, it looks like. He does have a lot of Storms, and he's got Immortals as well. So some pretty hardy units, but DDE just annihilating the main base of ROKER at this point, and ROKER going to have to push out at some point. Here it is.
All right, here we go. Immortals are going to be able to bunker bust here. Psystorm should be coming in. There you go. Psystorm across multiple units. The Immortal trying to finish off all the siege tanks. This is going to get broken, but ROKER is still very, very far behind as the siege tanks do fall. Siege tank count down to 0 as we have 4 medevacs, 5 Vikings, 11 Marauders, and 23 Marines.
Yeah, I think if ROKER maybe had a Colossus or 2, he might be able to take this one, but just still so much bio left. The medevacs are out of energy, so if ROKER's able to clean up the army in his main, he might be able to counter, but right now there's just a ton of energy on these High Templar. He needs to take advantage, get great Storms, immediately morph into Archons, and wow, this is a crazy game, back and forth. ROKER's not giving up.
Yeah, ROKER definitely not giving up here. The Vikings may consider trying to land. SCV's down over here. 1 Zealot just sitting around going, what are you going to do, Orbital Command? I'm not going to let you land at all. Medevacs next to the SCVs, they're not going to be any use whatsoever, as now we see High Templars, Immortals. Are we going to get some Psystorms? Yes, Vikings are on the high ground, and with no sight up there, brilliant play by DDE.
Yeah, it looks like DD now going for the main base, or what's now the main base of ROKER up in this northeast corner. ROKER's army out of position big time. He's going to be able to come in here and get these pylons immediately. Looks like he's focusing down the High Templar first and foremost. Great play there. ROKER going to try to save a probe or 2, get into a base race situation, maybe spread some pylons around. I gotta believe he thinks that he can win an army encounter with some great Storms, and that might happen. We've got a liftoff coming here from 2 medevacs, leaving a little bit of army, and if ROKER's able to, or if DD is able to focus down that Nexus without a cancel, now ROKER does not have enough minerals and no Nexus to do any mining, so there's the GG. A little bit delayed, but ROKER losing that one after a hard-fought battle.
Yeah, really back and forth, a really good game. We are going to Game 7 now, and it really felt like ROKER let that game just simply slip through his fingers. He had the advantage and I guess overplayed it. He tried to get back in. It was fair. It got even, a little bit more even, and then I think ROKER was just caught out of position one too many times, and DDE with those 12 siege tanks on the high ground, able to simply destroy any attack that tried or that even got remotely within range.